Hello, everyone. Welcome to our ongoing series, Invest Her, in partnership with BSE Investors Protection Fund, where we talk about personal finance, bring more clarity on important financial concepts, and help women become independent decision makers when it comes to matters of money. It is my pleasure to welcome Kiran Telang, a certified financial planner registered as an investment advisor with SEBI. Kiran works with clients across India and overseas and helps them make smart investment decisions. And for us, she simplifies our financial lives by giving us simple definitions and answering all the questions that we have around supposedly tough financial terms and concepts. Thank you for joining us, Kiran.
It's an absolute pleasure, Mugdha. Happy to be here.
Kiran, the subject of our webinar today is demystifying tax planning. Taxation क्या होता है और कैसे उसको प्लान किया जा सकता है अपनी फाइनेंशियल प्लानिंग के साथ में और कौन सी वो बड़ी टर्म्स है जिनसे बिल्कुल घबराना नहीं चाहिए. That's all what we are going to explore today. But I first invite you to share your thoughts on the subject and then we can take questions.
That's great. Thank you so much. So I have a small presentation as always, and we'll go through some basic concepts and definitions and certain issues on this topic, and then we can have a conversation based on that. Right. So if I may just share my screen. Right. So let us start with what is the agenda for today. We'll be looking at some concepts. We are primarily going to talk about, income tax. So different types of taxes, heads of income tax, some tax rates and tax planning and related matters. So this is how we'll be taking the conversation today. So let us start with the definition of taxes. I mean, I'm not giving you a bookish definition, but what are taxes? Why do we pay taxes, So essentially, taxes are mandatory contributions levied on individuals or corporations, by government entities, which might be local or national or regional. And these tax revenues help the, public works and services. The government finances these public works and services through the taxes collected from the individuals and corporations across the country. So this is what taxation is all about. आप टैक्स देते हो, उससे आपकी कंट्री में आपको जो सर्विसेज मिलती हैं, रोड वर्क्स हुआ, रेलवेज हुआ, वाटर वर्क्स हुआ, इन सब पे आपको जो सर्विसेज मिलती हैं, दैट इज व्हाट इज योर टैक्सेस आर बीइंग यूज्ड फॉर दैट पर्पस, राइट? एंड see, there are two broad types of taxes. One is which is directly levied on you, and second is which is indirectly levied on you. So डायरेक्ट टैक्सेस तो हम समझते हैं कि जब हम इनकम टैक्स पे करते हैं, हमारी सैलरी से जो टैक्स डिडक्ट होता है, या हम जब कैपिटल गेन्स टैक्स भरते हैं या गिफ्ट टैक्स देते हैं, ऑल दोज आर डायरेक्ट टैक्सेस वेयर यू एज एन इंडिविजुअल investor or an individual taxpayer are directly paying to the government. There are other taxes which are deducted from various things, like for example customs duty is levied or excise is levied. GST जो हम हर परचेज पे पे करते हैं, that is an indirect tax. In the stock market, when you buy or sell shares, or even when you invest in mutual funds, there is something known as securities transaction tax which is deducted. तो आपके जो पेमेंट्स होते हैं उनमें से थोड़ा सा कुछ पोर्शन जो टैक्स का अमाउंट होता है वो डिडक्ट हो जाता है, एंड दैट इज इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेशन. आप वो अपनी तरफ से पेमेंट नहीं कर रहे हैं, बट आपका जो इन्वेस्टमेंट हो रहा है या आप जो चीज़ें परचेज कर रहे हैं उस पर वो टैक्स ऑटोमेटिकली डिडक्ट होता है. So these are the two broad, breakup of the type of taxes that we have. For the purpose of today's discussion, we are going to focus on the income tax part of it, the direct taxes part of it. Because taxation अपने आप में कितना wide subject है कि आप मतलब CA जो पढ़ते हैं उनमें से काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें taxation पे होती हैं, तो ये एक पूरा अपने आप में विषय है, तो जो आधे घंटे में कवर करना पॉसिबल नहीं है, तो यहाँ पर हम सिर्फ बेसिक्स को टच करेंगे. So देखिए, कुछ चीज़ें होती हैं जो बहुत ही बेसिक होती हैं, people don't know where to ask, right? So I'll just cover this very very basic concept in taxation कि financial year क्या होता है. Financial year is a period for which you are going to measure the payment of taxes that are due and that you're liable to pay. So in our country, the financial year is from 1st of April to 31st of March of the next year. So that is known as a financial year. अब आप जब taxes फाइल करते हैं, टैक्स रिटर्न्स जब फाइल करते हैं, तो आपके सामने ये दो शब्द आते हैं, प्रीवियस ईयर एंड असेसमेंट ईयर. अब ये क्या चीज़ है? तो आपने फॉर एग्जांपल 1 अप्रैल 2023 टू 31 मार्च 2024 ये आपका करंट फाइनेंशियल ईयर हो गया। अब इसमें जो आप पे करेंगे उसका हिसाब अगले साल होगा। तो अगला साल जो होगा दैट विल बी 2024-25 which becomes your assessment year for the previous year 2023-24। माने इस साल की जो टैक्सेशन है उसका असेसमेंट अगले साल होगा, सो दैट बिकम्स द असेसमेंट ईयर। और जिस साल का असेसमेंट हो रहा है दैट इज नोन एज द प्रीवियस ईयर। तो ये जो टर्मिनोलॉजी है इसमें काफी कंफ्यूजन रहता है, सो आई जस्ट वांटेड टू क्लियर दिस एट द आउटसेट। इट्स अ वेरी बेसिक थिंग बट पीपल नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस। अब ये जो हेड्स ऑफ इनकम है, मतलब हाउ इज योर टैक्स एक्चुअली कैलकुलेटेड, इनकम टैक्स की जब हम बात करते हैं तो 5 ब्रॉड हेड्स हैं जिनके अंडर हमारी इनकम टैक्स लायबिलिटी बनती है। इट कैन आइदर बी सिंगल वन और इट कुड बी अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ सेवरल ऑफ दीज हेड्स। द फर्स्ट हेड इज ऑफ कोर्स सैलरी इनकम। जो भी अगर आप सैलरीड एम्प्लॉई हैं तो आपकी इनकम से जो टैक्स डिडक्ट होता है दैट कम्स अंडर द हेड ऑफ सैलरी, राइट। अगर आपका कोई आपकी कोई प्रॉपर्टी है, आपकी कमर्शियल प्रॉपर्टी हो या आपकी रेसिडेंशियल प्रॉपर्टी हो, तो उसमें से जो आपको इनकम आती है, रेंटल इनकम हो या आप लोन लेते हैं उसके जो बेनिफिट्स आपको मिलते हैं, वो सारी चीज़ें जो होती हैं वो इनकम फ्रॉम हाउस प्रॉपर्टी में कवर होती हैं। ये अपने आप में अगेन एक बहुत बड़ा हेड है, इसमें काफ़ी सारे एडजस्टमेंट्स अलाउड होते हैं, काफ़ी डिडक्शंस मिलते हैं। सो आई एम नॉट गेटिंग इनटू दीज डिटेल्स ओवर हियर, बट ब्रॉडली anything related to property comes under income from house property. आप अगर अपना बिजनेस रन करते हैं या आप प्रोफेशनल हैं, जैसे डॉक्टर हैं, लॉयर हैं या आर्किटेक्ट हैं, तो आपके जो प्रॉफिट्स एंड गेन्स हैं आपके बिजनेस से या आपके प्रोफेशन से, क्योंकि आप सैलरी नहीं अर्न करते, आपके जो इनकम है दैट इज आइदर प्रॉफिट्स और गेन्स फ्रॉम दीज बिजनेस एंड प्रोफेशन, सो दैट कम्स अंडर दिस हेड, प्रॉफिट एंड गेन्स फ्रॉम बिजनेस और प्रोफेशन। द नेक्स्ट हेड इज कैपिटल गेन्स। कैपिटल गेन्स वो चीज़ होती है जहां आप कोई भी एसेट के ओनर हैं, आप अगर उस एसेट को सेल करते हैं या उस पर आपको कोई प्रॉफिट होता है, जो गेन्स होते हैं दैट इज टर्म्ड एज कैपिटल गेन्स, और इसको कैपिटल गेन्स के हेड के अंडर कवर करते हैं। अब इन चारों हेड्स में जो चीज़ें कवर नहीं होती है वो सारी चीज़ें इनकम फ्रॉम अदर सोर्सेज में कवर हो जाती है। सो दैट लास्ट हेड इज द रेसिडुअल हेड फॉर एवरीथिंग एल्स। अब यहाँ each head has different ways of calculating, terminology अलग होती है, टाइम पीरियड अलग होता है। जैसे कैपिटल गेन्स की अगर आप बात लें तो कैपिटल गेन्स वाला जो हेड होता है इसमें 2 तरह से कैलकुलेशन होता है डिपेंडिंग ऑन द टाइम। सो एक होता है शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन और एक होता है लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन। तो हर एक एसेट के लिए ये शॉर्ट टर्म और लॉन्ग टर्म की डेफिनेशन अलग होती है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर आप घर खरीद रहे हैं या बेच रहे हैं कोई प्रॉपर्टी, तो अगर आप खरीदने और बेचने के बीच में अगर आपका टाइम पीरियड 2 साल से कम है, अगर 2 साल से पहले आप अपनी प्रॉपर्टी बेच रहे हैं तो वो शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन हो जाएगा, और 2 साल से ज्यादा अगर आपने होल्ड पे रखा है और उसके बाद आप बेच रहे हैं तो दैट बिकम्स लॉन्ग टर्म। Likewise, there are definitions for time periods on debt assets. There are time period differences for equity. Equity में 12 months is considered as short term, beyond 12 months is considered as long term. तो हर एक टाइप के एसेट के लिए अलग अलग डेफिनेशंस हैं एंड इनके टैक्सेशन रेट्स भी काफी अलग अलग हैं। जहां इनकम टैक्स पेमेंट की बात आती है, सो देयर इज अ वेरी डिफाइंड परसेंटेज ऑफ टैक्स दैट विल बी लेवीड ऑन बेस्ड ऑन योर इनकम। तो फिलहाल अगर आप समझना चाहें, बेसिक 2 तरीके से आप इनकम टैक्स पेमेंट चूज कर सकते हैं, एक है ओल्ड रेजीम और एक है न्यू रेजीम। तो इस वक्त हमारे कंट्री में 2 तरह के टैक्स पेमेंट अलाउड हैं। या तो आप ओल्ड रेजीम चूज कर लीजिए जिसमें आपको काफी सारे डिडक्शंस मिल जाते हैं। न्यू रेजीम जो अभी कुछ सालों पहले इंट्रोड्यूस हुआ है, जहां पे कोई डिडक्शन नहीं है, एक सिंपल टैक्स स्लैब डिफाइन किए गए हैं और उसके हिसाब से आपको टैक्स पेमेंट करना होता है। तो ओल्ड टैक्स रेजीम जो है उसके स्लैब्स आपके सामने हैं इस स्लाइड में जो मैंने आपको दिखाई है। तो इसमें जिन लोगों के जैसे कोई हाउसिंग लोन चल रहा है तो आपको अगर इंटरेस्ट आप पे कर रहे हैं, या आपने इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसीज ले रखी हैं जिसमें आपको प्रीमियम पेमेंट करना होता है, आपकी हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसीज है, इन सब चीज़ों का जो पेमेंट होता है उसका डिडक्शन आपको मिल जाता है ओल्ड रेजीम में। अब न्यू रेजीम में जो है ये टैक्स स्लैब्स थोड़े ज़्यादा हैं, लेकिन इसमें आप कोई भी चीज डिडक्शन आप क्लेम नहीं कर सकते। आप अपने इंश्योरेंस प्रीमियम्स क्लेम नहीं कर सकते डिडक्शन में, हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस के प्रीमियम्स नहीं कर सकते, आपको हाउस प्रॉपर्टी का जो लॉस है 2 लाख का जो बेनिफिट होता है वो नहीं मिलता। तो ये बिल्कुल सीधा साधा सिंपल सा कैलकुलेशन है कि आपकी जो इनकम है इन स्लैब्स के हिसाब से कैलकुलेट की जाएगी एंड उस पर जो टैक्स बनता है वो आपको पे करना है. सो दिस इज अ वेरी सिंपलिस्टिक वे ऑफ टैक्सेशन. तो ये दो रेजिम्स चल रहे हैं. डिपेंडिंग ऑन व्हाट इज फेवरेबल टू यू कैन चूज वॉट एवर इज फेवरेबल. जहां आपको कम टैक्स पड़ रहा है उस रेजिम में आप जा सकते हैं. अब आती है बात टैक्स प्लानिंग की. तो जब हम टैक्स प्लानिंग की बात करते हैं, इट डज नॉट मीन दैट यू आर गोइंग टू इवेड टैक्स, राइट? यू आर स्टिल फॉलोइंग द रूल ऑफ द लैंड बोथ इन लेटर एंड इन स्पिरिट. ये नहीं कि भाई मतलब अनएथिकल चीजें आप कर रहे हैं. टैक्स प्लानिंग से आप दो चीजें कर सकते हैं. एक तो आप अपनी टैक्स पेमेंट्स डेफर कर सकते हैं इन अ लीगल मैनर, एंड दूसरे तरीके से आप कुछ ऐसे ऑप्शंस भी हैं जिनसे आप अपना टैक्स इम्पैक्ट रिड्यूस कर सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अब जैसे आप इक्विटी म्यूचुअल फंड्स की बात लें, तो म्यूचुअल फंड्स में आप जब तक पैसा विड्रॉ नहीं करते आपकी टैक्स लायबिलिटी नहीं बनती है. तो जिस दिन आप पैसा विड्रॉ करेंगे, डिपेंडिंग ऑन हाउ मच टाइम पीरियड हैज इलैप्स्ड सिंस यू हैव परचेज्ड दैट, you have made that investment, based on that your tax liability is calculated. तो आप जितना लंबा समय आप इन्वेस्टेड रहेंगे उतने लंबे समय तक आपको टैक्स नहीं पे करना पड़ेगा. सो दैट इज हाउ यू आर डेफरिंग योर टैक्स पेमेंट्स. Now reducing the tax impact is also one way to look at tax planning. यहाँ पे एक मैं सिंपल एग्जांपल दूंगी. जैसे फिक्स डिपॉजिट है, बैंक में फिक्स डिपॉजिट करते हैं आप, तो जैसे ही आपका इंटरेस्ट अक्रू होता है, एवरी टाइम द इंटरेस्ट इज अक्रूड टू योर एफडी, यू बिकम लायबल टू पे टैक्स, राइट? तो आप भले उस एफडी का इंटरेस्ट निकाले नहीं या एफडी मैच्योर नहीं हो रही है, फिर भी उस साल में आपको उस टैक्स का पेमेंट करना होगा. Now, if you compare this to the mutual fund thing which I told you, कि आप जब तक withdraw नहीं करते तब तक आप पेमेंट नहीं कर रहे हैं, right? So in this manner, you are also deferring, but you are also reducing, because कहीं-कहीं इसमें कुछ extra benefits भी मिल जाते हैं जिससे overall आपका tax payment कम हो जाता है, right? So these are two ways in which you can plan your tax in a better manner. Now there are certain considerations which you need to have when you are talking about taxation. जहाँ तक हम देखते हैं कि लोग कोशिश यही करते हैं कि हम टैक्स किस तरह से बचाएं, बट सी टैक्स सेविंग इज अ बाय प्रोडक्ट ऑफ सेवरल अदर थिंग्स. योर फोकस शुड नॉट बी ऑन टैक्स सेविंग, योर फोकस शुड बी ऑन व्हाट इज गुड फॉर यू एंड व्हाट इज गुड फॉर योर इन्वेस्टमेंट्स. तो ये कुछ बातें ध्यान रखनी चाहिए कि आप इन्वेस्टमेंट्स और बैंक अकाउंट्स अपने किस तरह से कर रहे हैं. जैसे यूजुअली हम देखते हैं कि जो मैरिड कपल्स होते हैं, हस्बैंड वाइफ, एक ही अकाउंट से पैसा सारा उसी में डालते हैं और उसी से इन्वेस्टमेंट करते हैं. यहाँ पे समझने वाली बात यह है कि इन केस ऑफ जॉइंट अकाउंट्स, द फर्स्ट होल्डर, द फर्स्ट नेम्ड पर्सन इन दैट अकाउंट और इन्वेस्टमेंट इज लायबल फॉर द टैक्स. द सेकेंड होल्डर हैज नो रोल टू प्ले इन टैक्सेशन. तो जहाँ तक हो सके, इन केस ऑफ कपल्स हु हैव देयर ओन इंडिविजुअल अर्निंग्स, अगर हस्बैंड वाइफ दोनों अर्न कर रहे हैं आइदर थ्रू सैलरी और थ्रू बिजनेस और प्रोफेशनल इनकम, keep your bank account separate, keep your investment separate. There can be a joint holder in the accounts, but that will be for convenience of operation. But अगर आप अपने अपने अकाउंट्स अलग रखेंगे तो वो टैक्सेशन भी आपका काफी क्लियर रहेगा. So whoever is liable to pay tax will pay tax on that investment. So this makes things very simple. So ये जॉइंट अकाउंट विथ स्पाउस में ये देखना जरूरी है. दूसरी चीज हम ये भी देखते हैं कि कई बार माइनर चिल्ड्रन के अकाउंट को लेकर बड़ा कंफ्यूजन रहता है कि क्या करना चाहिए, कौन टैक्स के लिए लायबल है. तो जहां तक माइनर चाइल्ड की बात आती है, माइनर चाइल्ड अपना टैक्स रिटर्न खुद फाइल नहीं करता है. सो माइनर चाइल्ड की जो इनकम होती है दैट इज क्लब्ड विद द पेरेंट्स इनकम. और अगर पेरेंट दोनों, मदर और फादर दोनों ही अर्निंग है, तो जिनकी इनकम हायर है उसके साथ माइनर चाइल्ड की इनकम का क्लबिंग होता है. मतलब आप कोई भी इन्वेस्टमेंट अगर अपने बच्चे के नाम से भी कर रहे हैं तो उसका जो टैक्स, उसकी टैक्स लायबिलिटी जो होती है दैट विल कम ऑन टू द पेरेंट हु इज अर्निंग हायर. तो ये चीज आपको ध्यान में रखना जरूरी है. एंड एज सुन एज द चाइल्ड बिकम्स अ मेजर, द चाइल्ड्स taxation becomes separate from the parents' taxation. The child will have an individual tax file to his or her name. एक और गलती मैंने देखी है, लोग जो करते हैं कि जहां TDS डिडक्ट नहीं हो रहा है, people think that there is no tax. See, TDS is only a way of deducting some amount of tax based on the regulations prevalent at a certain point in time. But it is not something that tells you that this particular instrument is tax free. जैसे कहीं कुछ ऐसे इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स होते हैं, जैसे लिमिट्स हैं, बैंक फिक्स डिपॉजिट है सीनियर सिटीजन के लिए 50,000 तक टैक्स फ्री है. तो अगर 50,000 के नीचे टैक्स है तो आप मतलब उतना डिडक्शन क्लेम कर सकते हैं. बट अगर ज्यादा टैक्सेशन है तो आपको अपने रिटर्न्स में वो दिखाना पड़ेगा. सो लेट मी गिव यू एन एग्जांपल. जहां पर आपने 100 रुपए की इंटरेस्ट इनकम अर्न की है। अब 100 रुपए में से बैंक आपका 10% टीडीएस कर रहा है, बट आपकी जो ओवरऑल इनकम है, योर लाइबिलिटी टू पे टैक्स इज से 30 रुपीज, 30% ऑन द टोटल इनकम। तो आपने तो 10 रुपए ही टीडीएस कटे हैं आपके, तो आपको 20 रुपए की लाइबिलिटी अभी और बचती है। So when you file your income tax returns, you have to show that total 100 rupees as income and claim that 10 rupees that has already been deducted and pay the balance 20 rupees. तो ये ध्यान में रखना बहुत जरूरी है। कई बार लोग इसको भूल जाते हैं कि ये पेमेंट टीडीएस जो होता है वो कम स्केल पे हो सकता है, कई जगह पे टीडीएस नहीं होता, बट यू आर स्टिल लायबल टू पे टैक्स ऑन दैट। तो ये कुछ चीजें हैं जो ध्यान में रखनी चाहिए व्हेन यू आर फाइलिंग योर टैक्स रिटर्न्स और व्हेन यू आर calculating your taxes and you're making the payment on that. So I think these were a few things which were very important. अगर आपको कोई भी सवाल है तो this is a genuine place where you can get all your answers. incometaxindia.gov.in is the website where you will get all your answers relating to any income tax queries that you have. They have some very good FAQs which have been given, which are in simple language with a lot of examples so that you understand what exactly you want to know. So it's a very good resource for you to find out details. So that was it from my side, Mugdha. I think we can take up a conversation now.
Yes, although this was a very, very detailed presentation, but as always, सवाल तो होते ही हैं हमारे. So, किरण, सबसे पहला सवाल ये है कि लोगों को टैक्स प्लानिंग का इतना डर क्यों होता है? You know, why is it so confusing for so many people? And what are some of the classic mistakes that people make because of which, you know, in their heads, tax planning is something which is very daunting, and come the deadline, everybody is running from one place to the other, figuring तुमने tax कर दिया, tax की deadline हो गई, tax को हो गया, कैसे fill करना है? You know, every time I hear at least some or the other people totally confused about it.
Right, Mugdha, you're absolutely right. So taxation by itself is like pretty daunting. It's a very complicated subject, so to say, because there are so many clauses. As a layperson, we wouldn't understand. So one thing I would like to say is that please, take help of a professional in this case. If you have complicated, matters, if you have several sources of income, so you please take help of a chartered accountant who will, clarify things and put things in the right perspective and give you clarity on what taxes need to be paid. If it is a very simple thing, you can, as I said, that Income Tax India website has a lot of resources which you can look into if you have the time to read through it and understand. In case of simple tax returns and whatever taxes are due, you will be able to find that on your own. But in case there are multiple things and in case your balance sheet needs to be made, it is better to take help of a professional. कई बारी क्या होता है, हमारे पास टाइम नहीं होता है, हम सोचते हैं करेंगे एंड देन चीजें रह जाती हैं. एंड देयर कुड बी लाइक आई सेड, वो टीडीएस वाला जो मैटर है, छोटी सी चीज है कि जहाँ पे 10% टीडीएस डिडक्ट हुआ है, यू आर लायबल टू पे मोर एंड यू फॉरगेट अबाउट इट एंड यू डोंट एंड अप पेइंग दैट. फिर एंड में आके ऐसा होता है कि उसको पेनल्टीज लग जाती हैं बिकॉज यू डिलेड योर पेमेंट. There are deadlines. You have to pay your advance tax on time. So if you're, especially if you're not a salaried individual, salaried के केस में तो सारा मतलब एम्प्लॉयर कैलकुलेशन पहले ही ले लेते हैं, अप्रैल मई के टाइम ले लेते हैं, देन दे डिडक्ट द टैक्सेस अकॉर्डिंगली. But people who are not salaried, who are responsible for calculating their own income and kind of paying the advance tax on time, or people who have say other income like capital gains होते हैं, लोग shares या mutual funds में deal करते हैं, या कोई property purchase या sale हुआ है in a particular year, so these are cases where there could be incomes which have to be presented for taxation. So it is better to take help of a professional in this case if you don't understand things.
Makes sense. Yeah, because a lot of times there are simple things that can be sorted when you take help of a financial advisor and are within the time limits. Otherwise, unnecessarily, if you delay it, then it becomes all the more difficult, because a lot of times, if there have been complicated transactions, like as you said, real estate, etc., then all the papers have to be submitted. The chain of transaction has to be established. So I think it's always good to take help of a professional. A lot of people ask us that when I am moving from a salaried job to my own work, all this while somebody was doing my calculation and my tax planning was easy. But now that I'm moving, it is daunting to do that on my own. What would your advice be for those people who are transitioning?
See, transition phase is always difficult because when you're moving from a fixed setup where somebody is there to do all the back end work for you to something where you're actually focusing on creating your own niche in that particular business where you are, trying to set up your
Yeah.
entity, and you have to do the taxation. So, my thing was one, obviously, a professional would definitely make your life a lot more easier. Second, as your own, from your side, what you need to do is keep track of your income and your expenses on a regular basis. If you've not done it so far because you were salaried, it's a different thing. But now in
Yeah.
business, two things. One, clear out your personal and your business expenses separately. Keep track of everything, keep track of your income, keep track of your expenses, whatever taxation related filings have to be done, keep a track of those, maintain a calendar of what needs to be done when, so that you don't miss out on those dates when payments are due, or when you need to make certain filings. So once you have this
Right.
tracking system in place, I think life becomes a little simpler. And definitely, at this point when you are moving into your own, you need to prepare your balance sheet as well. So in that case, I'm sure you will need the help of a professional.
Um, when I look at our taxation system, and when we look at the multiple changes that have been made over the years, one thing that strikes you is that to bring your taxable income down, the system actually allows you to plan and do a lot of good savings and good investments, etc. It is actually our taxation system that way actually is designed to help people financially, plan better, to help them.
Well, so let me put it this way, so what you're saying is right in a way, but the taxation system is not designed to help you save. It is designed to maximize the revenue for the government, right? So that is the primary reason for taxation. But yes, in the old regime, if you see, there were a lot of options given for people to save money in places which would really help them. Say, for example, your employees' provident fund, the EPF deduction that happens, that you get a benefit in the taxation. So that EPF is actually going towards your retirement. So indirectly,
Mm.
you are saving for retirement and getting an extra benefit for it. Likewise, even if you do your own investment in something like an ELSS or a PPF account, or even there are tax saving fixed deposits which are there. So there are several options which give you the benefit of tax saving, whereas it is also helping you actually manage your finances in a better manner. Another important
Right.
thing I think would be the health insurance premium. People sometimes just buy health insurance because it is giving a tax benefit. So actually, they should be looking at taking health insurance by itself, even if there is no tax benefit. But because the government also wanted to push people to take health insurance so that health cover is available to people at all ages, it is a tax benefit that has been given for them, and for themselves, their family, and even for their parents. So there is an additional benefit which is available if you're paying premiums for your parents as well. So that is a good way in which you are actually getting the benefit, whereas at the same time you are able to create a better financial future for yourself.
Interesting. Interesting thing that a friend pointed out recently was that she took a sabbatical in the middle, so there was no income coming into her account. And this is some time back, because this is the problem she had spoken to me back then, that मैंने ब्रेक लिया और मैंने सोचा कि अब जब मेरी इनकम ही नहीं है तो मुझे टैक्स क्यों फाइल करना होगा. So she did not, and because she was transitioning those 3 years, 2 years, 2.5 3 years, she did not file tax because she thought मैंने तो करा ही नहीं है. Then they were planning a holiday. उसमें उन्होंने कहा कि भैया आपके टैक्स के पेपर्स कहाँ हैं. And that's when she realized that tax तो file होना ही था. And so there is a misconception in the minds of people, and she said that it took her a while because she was just taking a break, but she was anyways going to go back to uh, you know um, uh, drawing a salary and start the process again. But a lot of people think that if we have taken a break, and if we aren't making the salary, or if nobody if I'm not getting paid, then I don't need to pay taxes. And that was one of the things that was completely baffling me, because that is something which is a common mistake, it seems.
Yeah, actually, see, salary is not the only thing that comes in, right? You would have your investments as well, and you could have, as I said, there could be transactions which are not related to your earning and income. So you could sell or buy or sell a property. You could have investments which you are redeeming, because there could be withdrawals from whatever you've built so far. So sabbatical में भी अगर आपको income generate करनी है,
Right.
salary नहीं आ रही है तो आप कहाँ से करेंगे? So you can use your investments and draw an income from that. So that has to be presented somewhere, right? And like you said, she faced a problem when she had to actually travel. So if your income
Yeah.
tax filings are in order, it becomes easier at every stage. A lot of places you have to submit your tax papers. So to say that everything is clear and you get your visa and things like that. Otherwise, you have to show yourself as a dependent on your spouse. So
Yeah.
otherwise it becomes difficult. So how do you travel abroad if you don't have your tax returns, you don't get your visa? That becomes difficult. So it's a simple process. I mean, why don't you just file your returns? If you've already been filing it so far and you know you're going to file it again
True.
in when you go back, might as well continue during that period as well.
I remember she was going on a girls' trip. So, at that point in time, and she suddenly realized कि कोई dependent, किसी पे dependency भी नहीं दिखाई जा सकती है. And then, but it was a learning experience that way, because we women take sabbaticals. So, this has to be kept in mind that,
True.
even your tax papers should be sorted irrespective of whether you're working or not working. But to that point, how can women better avail the tax benefits, Kiran? Are there certain policies? Are there certain sections that women can look at more with more attention while doing their tax planning?
Mugdha, unfortunately or fortunately, I would say that there is no reservation here. So there used to be
Hmm.
some benefit given to women, I think prior to 2012-13, where women used to have a additional tax break, but after then it's all same. So whether you're a man or a woman or any other gender, there is no differentiation in the taxes that will be levied to you. But yes, there are
Right.
certain benefits that women get in terms of, say if you're taking loans or if you're paying, buying a property, there is stamp duties which the state levies. So in that, there is some additional benefit given to women. So those kind of benefits are available. But in terms of income tax or in terms of capital gains and other things, there are really no benefits which are given to women separately.
We will just remind our audience quickly that if you have your questions, you can start sending us now. I will just take a few more questions with Kiran, and then jump on to ask yours. Kiran, we briefly spoke about tax evasion as well, and we wanted to try to understand that what are the repercussions of tax evasion?
The repercussions of tax evasion can be quite severe. So, I mean, it
Mhm.
can be even jail time, so ranging from penalty to jail time. So, it's better that you be careful about what you are doing with your money and whether you're paying your taxes on time or not. And I would also like to point out, especially in this time where, world is becoming a smaller place. So, people travel abroad for work, they have bank accounts abroad, they could have investments abroad, and then they come back, or there could be children studying abroad and you're sending money there are relatives who are sending you gifts. So there are a lot of international transactions and global things also happening. So you need to be very clear about how you're filing your returns. There needs to be a clarity on what is due for taxation and whether you've paid your taxes on that. So as long as you are clear on what is your liability and you've paid that on time, I think you should be fine. So tax evasion can have severe penalties. Better keep your papers clean and correct.
Right. हमने जीएसटी को बिल्कुल टच नहीं किया है किरण, क्योंकि वो बहुत कॉम्प्लिकेटेड हो जाता है. बट डू यू थिंक यू वुड वांट टू टेल पीपल कि थोड़े उसमें कि ये जीएसटी आखिर है क्या और किसको जरूरत होती है इसकी?
See, GST is goods and services tax, and that is an indirect taxation. So आप कोई भी कहीं जाते हैं, आप रेस्टोरेंट में जाते हैं या आप कोई भी चीज़ परचेज कर रहे हैं, तो उसमें आप देख रहे हैं कि एक एडिशनल चार्ज आ जाता है जीएसटी का. So GST is some portion goes to the central government and some portion goes to the state government. तो ये जो bifurcation होता है, so that is going directly to the government. So slabs हैं कुछ, मतलब there are products which are in certain slabs. So there are certain products which are 28% GST. आप अगर if you go and stay in a hotel, you would see that the hotel also charges differently. There are some places where you are charged 18%, some places where it is 12%, depending on what is the room rate that you're paying. So हर एक गुड्स और सर्विस के लिए अलग एक स्लैब डिफाइंड है, उसके हिसाब से उस पर टैक्सेशन लग जाता है. इवन इफ यू गो टू योर salon services are charged at 18%. So everywhere, whatever goods and services you are availing, you are paying that GST, which is going to the government as a revenue. So you really can't do anything about it. You have to pay the GST wherever it is levied on you.
Also, what is the who needs to have a GST number?
Well, if you are a business person and I think your income is more than 20 lakhs per year, in that case, you'll have to take a GST number and, charge GST to your clients and make the payments accordingly. And in business, if you're using, you have a GST number, you get an input credit as well. So whatever you are using for your businesses and you're paying GST on that, you can claim that as an input credit. So that is available in case of businesses.
All right, so we will have a absolutely separate conversation on GST क्योंकि उसकी filing भी अलग होती है, उसकी filing भी हर 3 महीने पे होती है. And as Kiran said that anybody who's making more than 20 lakhs has to have a GST number और उनकी tax जो है वो उसके साथ जीएसटी के साथ भी चलती है उनकी टैक्स प्लानिंग. लेकिन ये एक और बहुत बड़ा सब्जेक्ट है, तो इसको हम अपने नेक्स्ट फ्यू एपिसोड्स में उठाएंगे. चलिए अब क्वेश्चंस ले लेते हैं. आई कुड सी अ क्वेश्चन ऑलरेडी कम अप ऑन आवर स्क्रीन. All right. Is it possible for both the earning members of a family to claim deduction for home loan taken in joint name? Niyati is asking this question.
Well, Niyati, good question. Yeah, it's a very interesting question. Yes, if the property is owned by both and if both are co-borrowers, then they can claim the tax benefit also in that proportion in which the ownership is there. So if it is two people owning 50-50, then both of them can claim the benefits to that extent. So if whatever your interest, if you're claiming on the interest, so up to 2 lakhs is permitted. So each person can take 2 lakhs. So total 4 lakhs can be claimed. If it is beyond that, there is no extra benefit that you can claim on that. But thing to remember is you have to be a co-owner and a co-borrower as well.
All right. Niharika Vats is asking, how do various income sources like salary, rental income, or capital gains affect taxes, and what strategies can be employed to reduce the tax liability for each?
Wow, Niharika, you want me to give you a tax plan right now? So this is what covers tax planning. You'll really have to sit down and do the detailed work on this. It's not possible to give you the total working on this. It depends on what all is coming in, because there are adjustments, there are set-offs which are available against different heads. So you have capital gains, which can be capital losses, which can be carried over to a certain number of years. And what can it be adjusted again? So there are set-offs available under different heads, the heads that I mentioned during my session. So there are set-offs available. So it depends on what exactly the structure of your income and your taxation is, and then we can see what the tax planning can be done for that.
आई थिंक किरण, कैपिटल गेन्स के मामले में तो ये भी होता है ना कि अगर आपने उस 2 साल में ही जो आपके कैपिटल गेन हुआ है उसको कहीं आपने री इन्वेस्ट कर दिया तो फिर वो टैक्स नहीं देना पड़ता है.
So this is what you're mentioning is regarding real estate. तो आप रेसिडेंशियल प्रॉपर्टी, हाँ, रेसिडेंशियल प्रॉपर्टी की जहां तक बात आती है, तो अगर आप कोई रेसिडेंशियल प्रॉपर्टी सेल कर रहे हैं एंड यू आर री इन्वेस्टिंग दैट मनी, सो 2 years वाला जो आप बता रही हैं, दैट इज शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन, तो उस पर आपको टैक्स देना पड़ेगा. ओनली इन केस ऑफ लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन यू कैन री इन्वेस्ट दैट money that is received, and the entire amount, if it is being reinvested, then you don't have to pay tax. So basically real estate में कैसे होता है कि there are 3 options that you have. So if there is a capital gain that is happening, one, you can straight away pay tax. That is the first option. So taxation की जो liability होती है वो आप pay कर दीजिए, so you are done. Second option is up to 50 lakh rupees can be invested in specific bonds which are under the section 54 EC, जिसके बेसिस पे आप 50 लाख तक के अमाउंट पे टैक्स नहीं भरना होगा. अगर उससे ज्यादा आपका कैपिटल गेन है, you will have to pay tax on the balance amount.
But you lock that
That is a
money for
5 year.
5
Yeah,
years.
it's a
Yeah.
5 year
Got
lock-in
it.
product. So you have to keep it there for 5 years, and after 5 years, it is free for you to use for whatever purpose you want to. And the third thing is
Right.
where you buy another property, and then you don't have to pay the difference in the capital. You don't have to pay the tax on that capital gain that you've made. So these are the three options that are available when you sell a property.
Great. Vaishali Garg is okay. Vaishali, you missed the initial bit जिसमें हमने direct indirect की बात की थी, लेकिन we will quickly go over it for you once again. So she's asking the difference between direct and indirect taxes.
So Vaishali, direct taxes are something that you pay out of your pocket, So basically like what is being deducted from your salary if you're a salaried employee, जो आपका income tax deduct होता है, or if you're paying any capital gains, like we were talking about real estate just now. So you're paying the capital gains tax that is being paid directly by you. So that is a direct tax. Indirect tax is where you pay, where the deduction happens on any service, like GST की जो हम बात कर रहे थे कि आप goods or service purchase कर रहे हैं, and it is being deducted while in that purchase itself. Or it could also be the securities transaction tax. So आप जैसे शेयर सेल या परचेज करते हैं, तो आपका जो कॉस्ट होता है उसमें से STT ऑटोमेटिकली डिडक्ट हो जाता है, and that is paid to the government directly. I mean, you are not paying it from your pocket, but as you use the goods and service, it's being deducted. So that is indirect taxation, where you're not paying directly out of your pocket.
All right. Wow. That's actually the new one. I think it's already started. Can AI help in tax preparation and filing process? लेकिन हाँ, ये मेरा भी एक सवाल होगा, इससे मैं जोड़ देती हूँ सुकन्या के सवाल से कि आने वाले टाइम में AI इस पूरे टैक्सेशन उसमें किस तरीके से हेल्प कर सकता है?
See, it's very interesting, and it's I think still evolving. So definitely hybrid models, you definitely can use AI to understand the basic things, but कहाँ तक ये कितने rules changes अभी इसमें incorporate हुए हैं, that I really don't know. So I don't know whether it is actually being used, but definitely it's an evolving area. तो कहीं तो कोई ऐसा time आएगा कि सारा basis यहीं पे AI पे होगा, but you still need the human brains to figure out, how to do smart tax planning. So I'm not sure whether that will be covered by AI so soon. So yes, definitely that will come up, and it is very much an evolving area. So सभी जहाँ पर rules based होती हैं चीजें, तो उसमें तो definitely AI is going to come in and make a major difference.
I guess these days softwares are available that do the calculation for you, and the advisors already have with them to sort of the chartered accountants would have,
Right.
But
right.
yeah,
so you're already
that
feeding
will
in
be
your
the
data, right?
क्या पैसा बचा सकते हैं?
Absolutely. So वहाँ तक पहुँचा है नहीं, I'm not sure because I'm not a tax advisor as such. So I'm sure there must be some progress happening in that area as well. So it's an evolving area, definitely. Very interesting.
Yeah, AI is everywhere. So I'm guessing वो भी क्यों छूटेगा area.
Sure.
All right. Can we take the last question because we are almost short of time now. India added in JP Morgan bond index. Should we invest in India's bond markets? अच्छा, ये तो बिल्कुल अलग ही हो गया सूरज जी का सवाल.
ये बहुत ही अलग सवाल है. I think we are not covering it in this area, and that is happening next year. अभी तो सिर्फ announcement हुआ है. We'll wait and watch, how things change from here. Definitely, it's going to be a major change.
बट चले हमारे पास में एक सब्जेक्ट और आ गया है, पर हम बात करेंगे इनके बारे में भी, बॉन्ड्स और इक्विटी और उसके बारे में भी हम बात करेंगे अपने आने वाले उसमें. बट for today, I think this was fantastic. Thank you so much, Kiran. This was wonderful as always. इतना vast subject है, तो हमारे पास हमेशा challenge तो ये रहता ही है कि हम इसको 40-45 minutes में कैसे समेट कर समझाएं. But you always do a good job. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mugdha. It was interesting discussing the questions also, and thanks to the audience for such lovely questions that they asked.
Yeah, and I must tell my audience before we leave that, as always, the discussions we do are for education purposes, and nothing should be taken as financial advice. But yeah, you can listen to us, make your own mind, and meet your own SEBI certified investment advisor before taking any investment decisions. लेकिन हाँ, हम जो भी यहाँ पर बातें करते हैं, वो हम एक बातचीत के लहजे से करते हैं, और हमारी कोशिश हमेशा ये रहती है that whenever you are making your decisions, that you definitely are reading all your documents carefully before investing, because investments in the security markets are subject to market risks, and you're always making your decisions in consultation with with an investment advisor. So thank you so much. All of you were watching She the People's Investor in partnership with BSE Investors Protection Fund.
Thank you.